Hello, hi, welcome back to that is your channel Physics by Imagination. Dear students, in the previous class we had understood about photoelectric effect in detail. Dear students, in this class we are going to understand about that is atoms. So from this also we can expect minimum 3 to that is 2 to 3 MCQs, minimum 3 MCQs we can expect from this chapter. So let us understand about atoms like in the form of story. So dear students, I take the atom. So what is atom? It's the smallest particle of the matter and which is 10,000 times smaller than bacteria. So here the size of the atom is about 10 to the power of minus 10 meter and size of the nucleus is 10 to the power of minus 15 meter. If you consider a stadium and the center of the stadium, if you keep a ball, the ball will be the size of the nucleus and the size of the stadium will be size of the atom. So this is the major difference between size of the atom and size of the nucleus. Nearly 1 lakh difference will come. Okay. So now here it is made up of 3 fundamental particles: protons, neutrons, electrons. Here protons means positively charged particles, electrons means negatively charged particles, neutrons means no charge, and here number of protons means that is atomic number of protons plus neutrons means that is mass number, and here the strongest particles are neutrons, that is on account of nuclear fission and fusion process, and electrons are the reason for charge carrying the current, means they are going to carry the current. And here the smallest particles are electrons and largest particles are neutrons. So this is all about brief introduction about atom. Dear students, it has not explained once. So it has explained by so many scientists. Let us understand in this class very easily. So first one is Dalton atomic model. Dear students, according to Dalton, what he says, he had said that atom is indivisible. Atom is very small particles which cannot be seen by naked eyes. Yeah, because 10 to the power of minus 10 meter, it's very difficult to see that. So what is my point here? Atom is indivisible. And also he told that it is made up of only 2 particles, protons and electrons. He had not given information about neutrons. And he told that this atom is electrically neutral. It means the number of positively charged particles are equal to number of negatively charged particles. So according to Thomson model, he told that the properties of the atoms are similar to properties of elements. So what are elements? Like you take hydrogen, helium, lithium. In the hydrogen atom, it contains some atoms. That atoms' physical properties and chemical properties are related to that element. If you take radioactive elements, the atoms of the radioactive element will show the physical and chemical properties of that corresponding element. So this is all explained by Thomson, but he failed to explain that is atom also can be divided. Means he had not given information about that is division of particles in the atom. Division of particles in the atom. So he failed. Later on, atom as divided. Next scientist will come, that is J.J. Thomson model. Dear students, he told that atom can be divided into 2 particles, protons and electrons. And he has compared this with plum pudding model. Dear students, this is also called as plum pudding model. So now he told that the number of positively charged particles and negative charged particles are equally. They are electrically neutrally, but we can separate them. And also he told that this Thomson, electrons are negatively charged particles. Hence the father of electrons is J.J. Thomson. The what information which not explained by the Dalton, that clear information about protons and electrons which is given by Thomson model. So but here after that what happens, Thomson has divided the protons and electrons separately, and he told it is electrically neutral, and here this is number of positively charged particles equal to number of negatively charged particles. Actually this Thomson is telling that number of protons are equal to number of electrons. See here he has not revealed anything about nucleus. So that is the greatest drawback of Thomson. He had not given information about nucleus. So because in the atom we can see protons, electrons and neutrons. So next to explain about nucleus, one more scientist has come, that is Rutherford model. Dear students, he did an experiment that is called alpha scattering experiment. Let us understand within few minutes. Dear students, he had taken a beta source and he made to fall on the atom, and here this is the experimental setup of Rutherford atomic model. This is the source to emit the alpha particles, means the experiment consists of alpha particles and atoms. So here alpha particles whose mass 4 times of protons, that you know that. Okay, now here this is called gold foil. Dear students, this is having thickness will be very small, that is all about 2.1 into 10 to the power of minus 7 meter. Very important, it is used in the numericals. Now the particles are moving with the velocity 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 7, that is plus 7 meter per second. 1.6 into 10 to the power of 7 meter per second. In that speed alpha particles will be moving. Now here what happens here, actually what happened, alpha particles are largest particles. Imagine this is atom and this is alpha particles. Actually what we imagine, when large particle will collide with small particles, we think that the small particle will go along with that. But what happens, there is a miracle which had observed by the Rutherford. What happened? He passed number of alpha particles, means there is this is the atom. Now alpha particles are incident on this from the radioactive source, that is we are using radioactive source as bismuth. So you found that the alpha particles were moving through the atom. Very very important observation. Alpha particles, they were moving through the atom. So then he concluded that atom is made up of empty space. Atom is made up of empty space, completely empty space. Nearly 90% of the atom it is made up of empty space. So that is first conclusion which has taken by. So what is the first conclusion? That is about empty space. And he also found that some of the particles were coming backside. Some of the particles were coming backside. Why? There is a repulsive force. You know, alpha particles are the positively charged particles. And you know that at the center of the atom there is a positively particles are present, are called protons. So you know that the law of nature, like charges are always repulsive nature. So they are scattering backside. Means he found that yes, alpha particles are coming backside because there is somewhat is present, and that is called nucleus. Hence the father of nucleus is Rutherford. Father of electron is, that is J.J. Thomson, remember. So he found that second one, that is nucleus is present, and that is positively charged particles, and alpha particles also positively charged particles, they will collide because of like charges. So next point, some of the particles were deflecting backside and deflecting up and down. So it means he told that some of the particles are deflecting upwards and downwards. Means that is deflecting of particles upwards and downwards. These observations which as observed by Rutherford. So now here this screen is there now. Very important question. They may ask you in CT. It is used zinc sulfide or zinc arsenic. Okay, please note down on this point. So now very important point I am going to tell you here. Now in this Rutherford atomic model, two terms will come. The first one is impact parameter, closest approach distance, and Rutherford formula. Very important. The students, I'll take impact parameter. Impact means something parameter is going to be. Parameter means a variable which describes something. So what is impact parameter? That is very simple. It is nothing but, here what is going to happen, impact parameter is nothing but, that is the perpendicular distance from alpha particle, central line of the nucleus and alpha particle. Suppose here alpha particles are moving. The perpendicular distance between central line of the alpha particle and to the alpha particle is called impact parameter. And it is given by equation B is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Z square cot theta by 2 divided by Ek. So what is Ek? Kinetic energy. And what is Z? Atomic number. E means charge of the electrons. Now this is scattering angle. The students, if large scattering angle means large number of alpha particles are going to be produced. Okay. At small angles, less number of alpha particles will be scattered. Now, after understanding this, let us come to second point, closest approach distance. So in the name only is there, the minimum, that is distance from the nucleus to the alpha particles is called closest approach distance. Nucleus to center of the nucleus to alpha particle, closest approach distance. Then here, in this closest approach distance, the alpha particles will come to rest position. So here the kinetic energy of the alpha particles becomes 0. They will come and they will be standing at rest position. But you see, again it converts kinetic energy into potential energy to move in this model. Then what is my point here? The kinetic energy of the alpha particles will change it into potential energy of the alpha particles. And then it is given by equation. I mean half into mv square is equal to, that is Z squared by 4 pi epsilon naught r. Okay. So that is, now it becomes R naught is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught to Z squared by Ek. And Ek is nothing but what? Half into mv square. So now here, this all explained by this formula, Rutherford formula, very important, remember. This scattering angle or this number of particles which depend, that is n means number of alpha particles which are emitting from the source to the atom. This is n, small n means what? How many alpha particles are going to fall on this atom. So capital N means number of alpha particles which are falling on the atom. Small n means what which have fallen on the atom. Z means atomic number, E means electric charge, again radius, this is energy. So it is nothing but capital N, small n, T, Z square, E square divided by 16 pi square, epsilon naught, epsilon naught square, R square, E square into sin to the power of 4 theta by 2. So this is inversely proportional to sin to the power of 4 theta by 2 and directly proportional to cosine to the power of 4 theta by 2, because sine and cosine are inversely proportional to each other. So this is all about Rutherford alpha scattering. Next, the students, he failed to explain about the negative energy of the electrons. Means when the electrons are revolving around the atom, after a certain time they are falling into the nucleus. That would not explain by Rutherford. And also he had not explained about stability of the atom and atomic spectra of the atom. So these are the failures of Rutherford model. Next will come one more scientist, that is Bohr atomic model. Dear students, Bohr observed certain things. Let us understand very fast. The first one is all the atoms are revolving. I mean all the electrons in the atom revolving in elliptical orbits. So this is the first observation. Actually we thought they are revolving in round form, but he told that no, the electrons are revolving around the atom in elliptical orbits. Okay, first point. Second point, when electrons are revolving around the atom, so there will be some electrons present in the stationary orbits and they do not radiate energy. They will be keep quiet. So when there is no emission of electrons, energy will take place in the electrons, that is called stationary orbits. So very important, in stationary orbit it is not going to emit energy. So next, so when electrons will go from lower orbit to higher orbit, then transition in the energy means we had to be given the energy, that is called excitation potential. So what is excitation potential means the minimum energy should be given, then electrons will go from lower state to higher state. Okay, na? That is called excitation potential. So that is, we know that E is equal to, that is E2 minus E1. Now here E is nothing but Planck's constant, h mu is equal to E2 minus E1 according to Planck's quantum theory. Now mu is equal to E2 minus E1 divided by h. This is third postulate which explained by Bohr. Last but not least, mvr is equal to nh by 2 pi. Dear students, when the electrons are revolving around the atom, there is a balanced by two forces, centripetal force and again Coulombic force, means the force between the two charged particles explained by Coulomb. So now here the centripetal force is attracting the particles to the center and Coulomb force is pulling outside. So now here then what happens, hence the electrons are revolving around the electrons are revolving around the nucleus in the atom. So what is my point here? That is called angular momentum. The angular momentum of these electrons is always integral multiple of, that is nh by 2 pi. So this is very important. N is equal to, it takes the values 1, 2, 3. So this all explained by Niels Bohr. Again we can find some failures in this also. What is that? Dear students, he explained for only hydrogen atom. He could not explain for multiple atoms. And he had not given further information about atomic spectra. He did not give information about, that is, he did not give information about what? Zeeman effect, Stokes effect. This is the failure of this Niels Bohr. So next who will come? That is, next scientist is nothing but Sommerfeld. The students, Sommerfeld means what? What which not explained by the Bohr model, that explained by Sommerfeld. He told that the atom, in the atom, electrons are revolving in both circular and elliptical orbits. So this explained by Sommerfeld. And here he is telling that this atoms, in the atoms electrons are revolving, that is both elliptical orbits as well as circular orbits. But and also he told that this is space is quantized. Okay, but he could not explain about how this space is quantized. According to Sommerfeld, that is elliptical orbits as well as circular orbits. But this fellow explained only about this, how the electrons will revolve, whether it is revolving in circular orbits and also in elliptical orbits. But he did not explain that why there is a variation in the mass of the particles. You know, when the alpha particles are going to emit the energy, there will be a loss in the mass of the particles. That would not explain by Sommerfeld. Okay, after that, last but not least, that is we call that atomic model. Dear students, this atomic model, or we can call it as vector atomic model. This is the last theory which explained all the properties of the atom. And also there is some failures. But compared to this all atomic model successfully explained by atom about, that is vector atomic model. So now let us understand what is vector atomic model. So dear students, here the space between the electrons, that will be quantized, and that is called a space quantization. That is called space quantization. Space quantization. And he explained the different properties in the form of principal quantum number, orbital quantum number, magnetic quantum number, magnetic spin quantum number. The students, principal quantum number is denoted by symbol N, which gives the energy and size of the atom. Very important, energy and size of the atoms. And also in this we can find how the number of electrons are going to be distributed. You know, here we can find K shell, L shell, M shell, N shell, and K shell have S subshell. This is SP, this is SPD, this is SPDF. So now here K shell as S shell. Now I mean the number of electrons in the shells which is given by principal quantum number. If you put n is equal to 1, 2 electrons in the K shell. You put n is equal to 2, 4 into 2, 8 electrons in the L shell. Put n is equal to 3, that is 9 to the 18 electrons in the L shell. You put n is equal to 4, 16 to the 32, 32 electrons in the N shell. So this is the size of the atom energy levels which are given by a principal quantum number. Next, orbital quantum number. It means it gives about subshells. As I told you, SBDF are the subshells. Now here, the very important for CET, the number of distribution of electrons in the subshell which is given by formula, that is 2 into 2L plus 1. What is L? For S shell, dear students, remember, for S, we can write SPDF, 0, 1, 2, 3. So, number of electrons in the principal quantum number, 2n square. Number of electrons in the orbital quantum number, 2 into 2l plus 1. It 0, 1, 2, 3 is nothing but L number. After that, come to the third point, magnetic quantum number. It gives the direction of the magnetic field and how the orientation of electrons which takes place in the atom, that gives rise by magnetic quantum number. So it will take minus L2 plus L. L means what? Orbital quantum number. Now last but not least, magnetic spin quantum number. The students, when the electrons are revolving around the atom, they are moving clockwise direction, anti-clockwise direction. The electron spin of the atoms, clockwise, anti-clockwise. That is further clearly explained by, that is magnetic spin quantum number. For clockwise, that is positive of NH cut. For negative, anti-clockwise, minus of NH cut. So dear students, this is all about, we discussed atomic model. So please students, if you understand this video, please like it and share and subscribe. Thank you. If you are watching first time this channel, please subscribe and share.